Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Max Velocity weather forecast. And in today's forecast, I'll be breaking down a huge winter weather event that'll be taking place across the United States, all the way from the Midwest back into parts of the southern plains, that'll bring the risk for snowfall, potentially sleet and freezing rain that'll lead to ice, and as well as an Arctic blast that'll be impacting a large majority of the United States over the weekend. I'll be giving you the latest breakdown on everything that you need to know in this forecast, but let's begin with what's happening across the United States today. And we'll first begin with the Midwest to the southern plains, and this is where we actually have a cold frontal boundary that is currently pushing through areas like North Texas, Oklahoma, back into Missouri and Wisconsin. And this actually arrived a little bit earlier than anticipated, but the big thing is that this is not even the Arctic blast that we will be seeing this weekend. Better chance for much colder weather will arrive by Sunday into Monday, so just kind of keep that in mind. But there are some showers and storms firing up along this area. We do have a low risk for severe weather across Missouri and Illinois this evening for isolated damaging winds and large hail. Back down into North Texas, we'll be watching for a flooding risk tonight with some heavy rainfall that'll also fire up along a stationary boundary. This is currently a cold front, but it'll become stationary overnight, so there will be some flooding potential, primarily south and east of the Dallas area. Now back up to the north, we are watching a little area here over the next 12 to 24 hours to develop. This will actually turn into a winter weather event, and this area in particular will start to kind of fire up into some snow and some freezing rain as we head into later tomorrow and as well as into Sunday. And then further to the north of this, that is where we're watching that cold air mass. That will be an Arctic blast, and it'll push through areas like the Midwest, Ohio Valley, and as well as much of the Great Plains over the weekend and into early next week. Now let's talk a bit more about that winter weather event that we'll be watching over the next 48 hours, primarily over the weekend. As of now, we do have freeze warnings in effect from Wisconsin back into Kansas. Meanwhile, we also have winter weather advisories that are in effect right now from northwest Iowa back into parts of Kansas. I would not be surprised if this does get extended in the Texas Panhandle and as well as into western Oklahoma, and I'll tell you why here in just a second. We also might even see some winter storm watches and warnings out of this as well. Back over in the Colorado area around the mountains, we have winter storm warnings there and winter storm watches in effect across the Rockies, so that'll be an area to watch for as well over the weekend. Also back down to the south, a flood watch is in effect all the way from southeast Oklahoma back into North Texas and even closer to Waco. So those areas in the impact zone primarily for tonight and tomorrow morning for some excessive rainfall. Let's talk a bit more about that snow and ice potential, and looking at the temperatures overnight tonight and tomorrow morning, that freezing line is going to drop down into parts of the Oklahoma Panhandle and back through Kansas City, and this again will be our region to watch for a transition from snow to potentially some ice, meaning freezing rain potential will exist, and as well as some sleet, and as well as rain overall further down to the south. As we go into late Saturday, so during the afternoon, temperatures will be back to above freezing, so really not a whole lot of snow is expected, and if there is any snow in this area like Kansas, it will not accumulate just due to the fact the ground temperature is too warm. Going overnight Saturday into Sunday morning though, look how far south this freezing line drops. It actually will drop down into the Texas Panhandle, Oklahoma, and this area in particular will need to be watched for the threat for freezing rain, which could lead to ice accumulation. So that area in particular, a bit more concerning as we go into Sunday. By the way, the high temperatures in the Texas Panhandle might not even get out of the low to mid 30s on Sunday, so it might be very cold there. And by the way, we're not even close to winter yet, so obviously it is going to get pretty chilly there, especially for this time of the year. All right, let's talk about what it looks like on the future radar across this region. So by Saturday morning, really not a whole lot out there. There might be like some little spits in the sky, so like little droplets coming out, maybe some drizzle more than anything, across parts of Oklahoma and the Texas Panhandle. The area more in particular to watch for tomorrow morning is from Nebraska back through the Denver, Colorado area. That's where heavy snowfall will be possible in those areas with maybe a little bit of freezing rain. As we go into late Saturday into Sunday, we'll be watching more rain activity across Kansas. Again, temperatures will be above freezing, so I'm not really anticipating anything besides maybe a few sleet pellets, but otherwise it'll be mainly rainfall. Ice, again, not expected in this region. Snow will continue across Nebraska. By the way, that'll extend all the way into the Midwest. By the time we get into Sunday morning, this is where we'll be watching for a freezing rain potential across southwest Kansas and the Texas Panhandle. Those areas in particular, be mindful there will be a potential for some ice on the roadways going into Sunday morning, and this could very easily turn into some major travel impacts depending on how bad the ice gets. And then back over to the north, we're still looking at mainly snowfall from the Denver area back into north central parts of Kansas. And by the afternoon hours, we will still be watching for some isolated freezing drizzle. And then back over to the north, there will be some mixture of sleet and rain. And then also back through Iowa and into parts of Denver, or excuse me, into Colorado. That's where we'll be watching for a trail of snow pretty much all the way through the afternoon hours on Sunday. It should diminish as we get closer to the evening hours and eventually into overnight Sunday into Monday morning. I'll show you the ice and as well as the snow accumulation in just a moment, but I also want to show you the Midwest, where there will be a little bit of snowfall going into Saturday. Really, the late day is when there might be some snow flurries and some light snow from Wisconsin back into parts of Iowa and southern Minnesota. By the evening into the overnight hours, some more snow possible, even just north of Chicago. As we go into Sunday around lunchtime, there will be a better chance of some snow bands moving toward the Chicago area. But right now, Chicago forecasted to stay above freezing, so snow overall, like a little bit of a less likelihood overall. But if you do end up seeing any snowflakes reaching the ground, again, there won't be any accumulation, but it'll be cool to see at least for the first time this fall. Overall, in terms of the snowfall totals in the Midwest, very minimal overall. I mean, we're talking a coating to maybe an inch or two. This is no winter storm by any means in the Midwest, but further over to the south and west in parts of the Central Plains, it's a bit of a different story. We'll be watching for the potential for upwards of 1 to 3 inches of snow. Some areas maybe upwards of 4 to 7 inches, and then back over in the Denver area, full-blown winter storm with the potential for upwards of 1 to 2 feet of snow in the Rocky Mountains. Even outside of that, we'll still be watching for upwards of a half a foot to a foot of snow. Across Kansas, pretty minimal overall as well. We're talking, again, maybe an inch or two, a maximum of 3 to 4 inches, in my opinion, for tomorrow. I don't think we're going to really see anything too crazy, and that also includes Sunday. Freezing rain, much more concerning because this could cause some serious travel impacts. This is from southwest Kansas into parts of the Texas Panhandle, where we do need to watch for freezing rain. This is a big impact, so make sure if you have any plans to go on the roadway Sunday, make sure you're staying very weather aware and making sure that you're looking at the weather closely, because there will be a chance for some ice on the roadways that, again, could lead to the potential for some major travel impacts. So you definitely want to make sure you're watching the weather closely, but even a 1/10 of an inch or even a 100th of an inch of ice can make some major travel impacts, and that's what we're looking at across this entire region. Some areas could pick up as much as a 1/10 of an inch of ice, so that's definitely concerning. Make sure you're watching your weather very closely, because again, there could be some major travel impacts on the roadways. All right, overall, the temperatures across the United States are going to get pretty cold. We have a huge cold air mass that'll be moving in as we go into Monday. This is Monday at lunchtime. This entire region here is all below normal temperatures, and we could see even some record-breaking low temperatures in some areas. That's how cold it's going to get. Another shot of cold air is expected by Tuesday across the Midwest. That'll mostly impact the East Coast as we go into Wednesday, and eventually as we go into next weekend. Unfortunately, we're going right back to warm temperatures. So overall, it's going to get warm again as we go into next weekend. This basically means above normal temperatures. So just keep that in mind. Coldest day of the week when it comes to the wind chills, currently forecasted to be Tuesday. Some areas as low as 20 degrees below zero in parts of North Dakota. Back even into North Texas, we'll be watching for wind chills as low as the 20s. Below freezing temperatures will be possible as far south as Georgia. That would be in northern Georgia, and as well as parts of North Texas, and maybe even into central Texas as we get closer to Wednesday morning. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit the like button down below and subscribe if you've not already.